The dominoes of NBA free agency have started to fall. Where does that leave DeMar DeRozan? He still hasn't agreed to a contract with any new team, and sources have indicated that the discussions he's been having with the Chicago Bulls have fallen apart. So what happened? We know that Casey Johnson from NBC Sports Chicago during last season reported that DeRozan was interested in staying with the team. He said that he loves everything about the city and the franchise, top to bottom. Bulls management, including AK, including Billy Donovan, they've always praised DeRozan's leadership, his locker room leadership, and obviously on-court impact, being one of the most clutch players in the NBA, playing, some of the highest minutes in the league last season. Artūras Karnišovas and Billy Donovan have consistently indicated that they want to keep the Bulls-DeRozan partnership intact into the future, but it feels like things have started to change over the last couple of weeks. I would say the Josh Giddey trade would be the first move that really changed how you might look at the future of a Bulls-DeRozan partnership. The youth movement, the pivot towards youth, I think not only speaks to the idea that they might not be looking to bring DeRozan back, but also the fit, right? The kind of game that Giddey plays as a facilitator, as a ball handler. Well, DeMar DeRozan likes to have the ball in his hands. DeMar DeRozan has been a facilitator and a primary ball handler for this Bulls team. So it begs the question, you make that trade, you're not trading for Giddey to make him a bench piece, because that was why he didn't want to stay in Oklahoma City. So you're kind of telling DeRozan with that trade, hey, we're probably not going to be bringing you back next season. So that was kind of the first step. I'd say the second step on draft night was drafting Matas Buzelis, young kid, another youth movement player, part of the rebuild, and with Artūras Karnišovas post-game press conference speaking about some forthcoming changes to the team, saying something along the lines of, not knowing what the team might look like in a couple of weeks. That appears to be the direction that we're headed. Financial constraints definitely play a role in this as well. So once the Bulls gave Patrick Williams that 5-year extension, I think that was kind of the nail in the coffin for the idea of bringing DeRozan back next season. In terms of financials, the Bulls will not be able to pay their new draft pick, Matas Buzelis, to bring in Josh Giddey, and to bring back DeRozan without entering the luxury tax, which let's not even get into that. So all signs have been pointing to DeRozan is not going to be a Bull next season. What does that actually mean for DeRozan, though? We know what it might mean for the Bulls. It might mean a pivot towards youth. It might mean, a full-scale rebuild potentially. But for DeRozan, the question now becomes, where do you want to go and how can we make it happen? So the two teams that have popped up quite a bit in discussions have been the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat. Both teams have financial restrictions. Both teams have salary cap constraints. They won't be able to sign DeRozan outright for the amount of money that he wants unless DeRozan is willing to take some sort of 1-year prove-it deal or, pay cut to be with the team he wants. It seems like the most likely option would be a sign-and trade, which is actually how the Bulls acquired DeMar DeRozan back in 2021. They sent the Spurs a top 10 protected first-round pick, and guess what year? 2025. It's coming around. We're going to have to owe that pick to them next year, potentially. But with the Bulls, pivoting towards youth, pivoting towards potentially tanking, hopefully they will retain that pick. All that said, though, what could the Lakers give up? What could the Miami Heat give up? You'd have to match salary in order to achieve the sign and trade that, the Lakers might want to do or the Heat might want to do based on, 3 years, 4 years, however much money DeRozan is looking for. It sounds like DeRozan's not open to taking that mid-level exception, which I think is only around $13 million if he were to sign with the Lakers or Heat. So DeRozan is being a little bit picky, but his options are also extremely limited. At this point, in terms of a sign and trade, what the Bulls could get back, some sort of salary dump, as well as maybe a protected first round pick or a couple of second round picks. So I think the sign and trade route is more advantageous for both sides. DeRozan could make more money at a long-term commitment, and the Bulls obviously would be able to bring some assets back. But as an unrestricted free agent, the ball is technically in DeRozan's court. He could go out and negotiate a contract that has nothing to do with the Bulls, that a sign and trade isn't needed for. And the Bulls obviously would not get anything back in that scenario. But at this point, it feels like DeRozan is holding out for that sign and trade because he wants to get, as much money as he possibly can. Get your bag, king. It really does beg the question of what kind of contract the Bulls would be able to bring back. And also if they might need to get, a third team involved. The Lakers do have quite a few players that are making a significant amount of money. Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, though it's not totally clear if the Lakers are willing to part with players like that. I think the Bulls would love to bring in a player like that. The Heat, as far as they're concerned, they have Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, who are making significant amount of money. But again, it really depends on what the Bulls are looking to bring back, if they could get a third team involved, and then also where DeRozan really wants to end up. So those are some of the options that I've seen in terms of sign and trades and, potential free agency destinations for DeMar DeRozan. Thought it'd be interesting just to kind of take a closer look together at what the numbers actually look like, because the Lakers salary table, not looking great. The Heat salary table, not looking great. It seems to me like it's going to be the kind of situation where they might have to do some very creative maneuvering to make a sign and trade work so that DeRozan can end up with his preferred destination. I'm not even going to get into the basketball fit of things because I feel like we could spend hours on that, talking about DeRozan's fit next to LeBron or his fit next to Butler. Listen, man, it seems like DeRozan is not going to be a Bull, and it would be remiss of me not to say, DeRozan for 3 years was a beacon of consistency in Chicago. He was one of the most clutch players in the league. He was a ton of fun to watch. I know that, he was one of my favorite players during that time. And it sucks that, we weren't able to win more. It sucks that we weren't able to do more during his time in Chicago, but I will always have love for the guy. I will always appreciate how hard he played with the Bulls logo on his chest. And we'll always have the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, back-to-back game winners. Never forget those moments. That is honestly some of the best basketball watching of my life were those two games. So shout out to DeMar DeRozan. We'll see. I'll be covering where he ends up. Make sure to hit subscribe and like this video. Thank you guys for watching it. But stay tuned to find out more on NBA free agency. As we have updates, I will update you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video again, and I will talk to you again very soon.